the 6th of October, Rabbi Furst, Mishna Berura.
Okay, good morning again. This is Rabbi Shlomo Furst here at Yeshiva Samanavshi here in Yerushalayim. Here in Zoom, this is our second shir. Okay, we're discussing Hilchos Sukkah. Lou, are there any particular things you'd like to focus on in terms of the laws of Sukkah or Lulav and Esther or whatever?
Well, I have a shir in the afternoon where we've been going through the Gemara with all of the different laws about the walls and the height and the width and all those kind of rules. Right. So I don't want to do that. Let's see. Maybe some hashkafa would be better than the detailed laws.
Okay.
Some
well, okay. I mean, we could actually the what we were discussing earlier. If you take a look at your Mishnah Berurah, if you have your 6th volume, Chelik Vav in the Mishnah Berurah.
I got it.
So take a look here at the very beginning of the Hilchos Sukkah. That was Taf Reish Chaf Hey. Taf Reish Chaf Hey.
Taf Reish Taf. Wait a second. This is Reish Taf. Taf Reish. This is near the end, right?
Yeah, sort of toward the end, right? Beginning of Hilchos Sukkah, right there.
Okay, Taf Reish. What's after Reish?
Chaf Hey.
Chaf Hey. Taf Reish Chaf Hey. Taf Reish. Kaf Hey, did you say?
Yeah.
Kaf Reish Kaf. Valid. Kaf Reish Kaf Hey. Okay, I got it. Sif Aleph?
Yes, we'll start with the very beginning, right?
The Sukkos Teshvu Shiv'as Yamim L'Gomer. On Sukkos, you will dwell 7 days. In Sukkos, you will dwell 7 days, etc. Ki b'Sukkos ho shavti es b'nei Yisrael. Because Sukkos dwelled the b'nei Yisrael. Aim on anei kavod shehiki fam bahem leval yakem sharav vashamesh. Okay, so they are the clouds of glory. What is this word shehikifam?
That we were surrounded with.
That surrounded them. Something about the sun.
Right. The Baal Yikanes Sharav Vashemis, that should not enter, right? Should not enter. Baal Yikanes should not enter the heat and the sun.
Sharav is the heat,
Sharav is the heat, right?
and the sun. So they were surrounded by the Anei Hakavod, the clouds of glory, in order that they would not be troubled by the heat and the sun. Should I do the Ramah?
Yes.
Umitzvah lisakein hasuka miyad la'achar Yom Kippur de mitzvah haba'a liyado al yachmitzene. So it's a mitzvah. The takein means to establish.
Yeah, right. Literally means to establish, but in this case means to erect, to set up the sukkah.
Right. To erect the sukkah immediately after Yom Kippur. That the mitzvah comes to his hand Yach Mitzena. I don't know what Yach Mitzena is.
It's in the same source as the word chametz. Chametz in Pesach. Chametz is what causes the dough to rise. But you have to, in order for the dough to rise properly, you have to wait. You have to let it sit, right? So you shouldn't let the mitzvah sit. Shouldn't let the mitzvah sit when it comes to your hand. Meaning, if you have the opportunity to do a mitzvah, do the mitzvah right away.
So it means delay. Don't delay.
Right, and sometimes people, they procrastinate because they think that they don't have time to do. Let's say it's a very big job, right? It's a very big job, right? So they procrastinate and they put it off doing it because it's such a big job. But that's not the right approach. The right approach, I feel, is that even if it's a big job, if you just get started with doing something, so at least you've begun. And once you've begun, so you have the impetus to continue. Whereas if you still haven't started, there's always going to be difficulty in trying to get that impetus to begin. So even if a person can't finish the whole sukkah, right, he should at least try to do something minimally that in terms of getting the sukkah ready to get completely built.
Right. Plus, I mean, how much can you procrastinate? You only have 4 days.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You've already procrastinated if you haven't started it yet. I had mine done about a week before Yom Kippur.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Not
Fine.
the decorations. The decorations are my wife's department, but I had my part done.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Fine. Let's see the Mishna Berura here.
Okay, Mishna Berura. Ki Sukkos Hoshavti V'kule, because Israel dwelled in Sukkos. Haim Ananei Kavod, they are the clouds of glory. V'dugma Lazeh Tzivanu Lasos Sukkos. Dugma means an example.
Yeah, right.
So an example of this is the commandment to make a sukkah.
Right.
It's an example of what? An example of that we dwelled in sukkahs in the desert.
Right. It's like here's it's not exactly, I wouldn't say it's like an example, it's like a simulation. Like this is like a simulation of this is that we're commanded to make a sukkah. To simulate how we were living in the midbar, we're commanded to also build a sukkah. And that's going to be a simulation of how we were living in the midbar.
I see. Today, she nizkor nor osav v'nif le osav. In order that you will remember norosav is the awe, the splendor.
Yes.
The splendor and the nifla osav. I don't know nifla osav.
Those are the Orosav, Viniflosav, the like the glory and the wonders, right? In order to mention the glory and the wonders that Hashem did for us when He took us out of Mitzrayim.
Aval pi she yatzanu mi Mitzrayim b'chodesh Nisan lo tzivanu la'asos Sukkos b'oso zman. Even though that we went out from Mitzrayim in the month of Nisan, we're not commanded to make a sukkah, and that at that time.
Right, exactly.
Lefi shehu yamos hakayitz v'derech kol adam la'asos Sukkos l'tzel v'lo haysa nikeres si yasenu shehem b'mitzvas Hashem yisbarach. Accordingly, that it Yamos doesn't mean death. What is Yamos?
That the days of the summertime, from Yamim, Yamos Kates, the days, the summer days.
The day. Okay, so accordingly, it is the days of in the days of the summer. It is the way of people to make sukkahs for shade and not nikeres. I don't know nikeres.
It won't be apparent. This is what we were talking about in the previous when Roy was with us. It won't be, because if we would be commanded to do this in the summertime, right? It wouldn't be apparent that are doing this.
It won't be apparent that we are doing this because it's a commandment of Hashem. May be blessed. Ulachein tiva osanu she naaseh b'chodesh hashvi'i shehu zman hagishamim v'derech kol adam latzeis mi sukaso leveso. And so this commandment that we do this in the month of the 7th month, that it is a time of rain, and it's the way of people to go out of the sukkah into their house. Va'anachnu yotz'in min habayis le'shev b'sukkah. But we go out from our house and sit in the sukkah. Bazeh mar'eh shehu oseh l'shem mitzvahs Hashem yisborach. In this, it is abundant. It is abundant. It is abundant in this that we do that we're doing in accordance.
That's the word. The word is mare. It's not marbe. It's mare. It appears. Mare. It appears. With this, it appears.
It appears.
Right.
This it appears that that he is doing l'shem mitzvah in accordance with the mitzvah of Hashem may be blessed.
Right. So we want to make it that it's apparent that we're doing this for the sake of the fulfillment of the will of the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and by doing that, we'll have a bracha. We'll have a bracha. That's pretty good.
But it's interesting because many people, non-Jews, but also even Jews that aren't knowledgeable, say, "Oh, it's a harvest festival." They built sukkos. They built sukkos because it was harvest time in September, October, and they went out into the field. They worked in the field, and they had to, cut the produce and gather it together, and they needed a place to rest while they were working.
Right.
So despite this, people make a mistake anyway.
Right. Right. Can't.
Ukasvu ha'acharonim sheyechavein b'shivasa shetivanu hakadosh baruch hu le'shev b'sukkah zecher l'tzias mitzrayim. And it is written by the Acharonim, by the sages, that one should intend I don't know what bishivasa is.
That's in the dwelling of the sukkah.
In the dwelling.
Meaning the Achronim writes, a person should have intention. He should intend b'shiviyasa when he's dwelling in the sukkah.
That it's the commandment of Hashem to
right.
dwell in the sukkah in remembrance of the exodus from Egypt.
Right. You're not simply going out to the patio to enjoy the shade, right? You're going out to fulfill the will of a Kadosh Baruch.
Right. Right. So we have to have that as our kavanah, as our.
That's right.
You
see this with many mitzvahs. There's a general discussion about whether mitzvahs trichas kavanah. Whether when you're doing a mitzvah, you have to have intention to fulfill with the act that you're about to do to fulfill the will of a Kadosh Baruch. So in general, the halacha is that mitzvahs do require kavanah. When you do a mitzvah, you have to have in mind, when you put on tefillin, you have to in mind that you're doing this because it's a mitzvah from Hashem to tell you to put on tefillin. When you're listening to shofar, you're doing that because it's a mitzvah that Hashem is telling you to listen to shofar. So, and it's particularly crucial in types of actions, behaviors, which we do all the time, even without the context of a mitzvah. For example, listening to a shofar. So that's something that people don't normally do during the course of their normal daily or yearly life cycle. So therefore, it's more or less evident that a person, when he's listening to a shofar on Rosh Hashanah, he's doing it for the sake of the mitzvah, right? Um, but um, taking a lulav, in a few days we'll be taking lulav and esrog and hadassim and arovos. People don't usually take vegetable matter and shake it and wave it. So therefore, it's more or less apparent that you're doing that because it's a mitzvah of Kadosh Baruch Hu. But in this case, particularly, for example, sitting in a sukkah. So many people go out to the back porch and they sit in a thatched hut or some type of a outside dwelling to enjoy the cool shade of of their outside dwelling, and rather be in the heat of the house. So it's not evident that a person's going to be sitting in a sukkah for the sake of fulfilling the mitzvah. So therefore, it's crucial the person, when he's sitting in a sukkah, he's doing it in order to fulfill the ratzon of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Right.
Right.
Okay.
V'gam zecher le'anane kavod shehik yafan az alenu lehagain alenu min hasharav v'hashemesh. Okay, so also we remember the clouds of glory that he kifan. I don't know he kifan.
That's to be surrounded by.
We had that before.
That was in the Mechaber, right?
That surrounded us. Then it was upon us the hagain to be a shield.
Exactly. Very good.
Shield upon us from hasharav v'hashemesh. Something in the sun. Hasharav is what, heat?
Basically heat, right? Shara was heat.
The heat and the sun. Okay, that's like we had before. Okay, so it's a remembrance of the clouds that they protected us from the heat and the sun. V'chol zeh l'tzeis yedei ha-mitzvah ke-sikuna. And all of this is fulfilling through the mitzvah of perfection.
That's the not exactly the perfection that
Is it like a tikkun?
tikkun as it's properly supposed to be done.
As
tikkun, or for the same word as remember, look at the Ramah on the top by the Shulchan or the Takin Sukkah. It was a mitzvah Takin Sukkah.
See, the Takein Sukkah. Yeah, we said to establish.
Right. So here, the tikkuna, as it's been established, to fulfill the mitzvah as it's been established.
As established.
Exactly. Very good. That's right.
Ha di avad yotze kol shekivein l'tzeis levad Prima. Okay, so this it's like bidiavad after the fact.
Right. The evid meaning if a person after the fact did not think about these things when he went into the sukkah to stay there.
So so Bidi Evid he fulfills all of his kavana, all of his intention to fulfill a load.
Right, meaning,
I'm a little confused.
excuse me?
I'm a little confused by this sentence. It's got yotze and letzeis. I'm translating both of them as fulfill. I think I got it wrong.
Well, no, I mean, basically, it's true. They're different verb forms, right? Bidi Evid, right? Yotzi, Bidi Evid, after the fact, or less than ideally, he would fulfill it. Call Shichavin, let's say, Slavad. In all cases, if he's simply having intention to fulfill, let's say, to fulfill the mitzvah bilvad, meaning you don't have the specific kavanas that we've discussed over here so far, but he had the basic kavanah that he's doing it to, let's say, he knows there's a command to sit in the sukkah, and he's doing it in order to fulfill that command. But he didn't have the extra added mitzvahs in mind before that.
Okay, so in other words, even if he doesn't have all the proper kavanas in every detail, if he's got the general idea, he's to the evid, he's yotze.
Right. Very good. Okay. Rabbi Litvitz coming on soon?
Yeah, we probably got to quit now.
Okay, very good. So we'll learn a little bit tomorrow, 9:30, if you please. That'll be good. Fine.
Have a great day.
Thank you too. Be well. Let's luck with everything. Thank you for coming in.
Okay.
Sure. Thank you. Bye, Shalom.